Welcome back to the channel and thanks for joining in. As you can see, life has gotten in the way over the last couple of weeks. New dishwasher, coaching Little League. My garage has become a mess. Let me clean this up really quick and we'll be right back at it. What do I have? The paint pen. That is going to be the number one thing that I'm going to need. Yes, sir. All right. Well, with the magic of internet, bam, we're right back here ready to go. So if you've been following along, last time I dug into this, tried to get the speedometer going and figured out the drive shaft wasn't quite right. Today, I have to get it out, pull it out, and kind of measure it up and see what size I need to be able to replace it and get this thing going. So my plan is to get under the car, mark where that drive shaft is or that yoke is on the transmission, undo it from the back, slide it all the way in, mark it again, and then kind of figure out from there the measurements of how much longer this drive shaft needs to be. So let me get this set up, get it, figure out how I want to do this. I might try to crawl under first, but I don't think that's going to work. Do I have enough space? Nope, not even close. So we're gonna jack it up from the front. Let me go ahead and do that. Come on, baby. All right, well, that's good news. Sounds good. Yeah. All right, get that stuff off. God, that smells so much better than newer cars. Just that smell of no catalytic converter. My God, it's awesome. All right, let's see here. We're gonna jack it up in the back. Front is all set, and then try to rest that rear axle on some jacks. I like that way better. Okay. So here's what we got going on. This looks really long. Let me wiggle it. Yeah, it's wow. See how loose that is in there. So this seal has got to be fixed. And this is out like probably about 3.5 inches. And I don't think that's quite the way it's supposed to be when we measure here. So we get a better measurement on it. You can see that. 2.5, 3, so we'll see. That may or may not be our problem, but this definitely has to be sealed up better. I took my paint pen, went around as much as we can. Next step, kind of detach it from the rear end and push that in. I'm going to pop off these two from the shaft here real quick. Let me put the camera down for this part. Pretty loose. They came off pretty easy. Okay. I don't know if I have enough power to... Oh, I can turn it. I'm just going to rotate it right around. And then pop these two off. Let me go ahead and do that quick. All right, I got both of those off. So my plan is to try to push this. I don't know if it's gonna let me push it right now. I think I'm gonna have to get a little little pry bar, and we'll just kind of, yeah, I gotta do that and just kind of push it back, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, I got my pry bar, and I put a jack stand underneath down here just to support that, just in case this does come way out. So what I'm going to do is just give this a little pry, and again, I'm going to have to take off or put the camera down for a second, just to give this a little pry. All right, I don't think that moved all that far, which maybe is a good thing. We're gonna mark it anyway, but I don't think this might not be the problem. To me, maybe it's just this seal is bad. I don't know. It didn't. I thought it would go in a lot farther than that, to be honest with you. But let's pull it out and check. So to me, it looks like, can't quite see my first markings, but I think it's right where it gets shiny there. It's only moved about an inch, which is what I've read is where you want it to be. I'm going to try to clean all this up, though, and see if it slides in any further. All right, another update. I just pushed that in further, and now it is completely, now it's bottomed out, and that is almost no gap whatsoever. Holy cow, I think this thing was barely holding on to that spline. Okay, well, back to the drawing board. Look at this. This is just mind-blowing how far apart these are. Holy cow. Okay, so upon further review, this piece part here is only 3.5 inches. It's supposed to back it off about an inch. I think this thing is 2.5 inches, 2 to 2.5 inches short. And when I look at this where it gets really shiny, that's all that was on the actual transmission, which was 3/4 of an inch. I am so glad that I found that. That was pretty darn close to falling out. Wow. I'm going to do one more test fit, slide it in, mark it one more time, making sure I get this right measurement for when I order a new one. 2 3/4. 2 3/4 is how much more it would slide in right now before bottoming out. So 2 3/4. Oh, maybe 2.5. Okay, let me take a look. All right, so check my math. That bottomed out about where that tape measure starts. Back it out 3/4 of an inch. Measured it up to where it was engaging, and that is a total of 2 inches. So I need 2 inches longer than the drive shaft, and when I measure from here to here, that's 43.5 plus 2. I'm hoping that I need to get my math wasn't quite, I added an extra 10, but it should be 45.5. And now the fun part. Taking this thing off and finally getting at the speedometer, which I started at a long time ago. I'm not going to be able to do this without putting the camera down. Let me start unbolting. This could end up being a mess. Oh, Lord. Okay. Okay. That's off. Oh my God. Wow. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Ta-da! Okay. There's the clip that came out. I'm wondering if that's for the old speedometer. Well, if you know where that's supposed to go, I don't think that's supposed to just be hanging out inside here. If you look closely in there, it's a little beat up. I don't think they got pressed on the right way. I'm hoping that's what it is. Or, geez, you know what? That is probably from having too short of a drive shaft and it chewed it all up in there. Shoot. Come on, man. Got electricity going out. Well, that's going to do it for this weekend. I'm going to get a new drive shaft ordered, and then hopefully next weekend we get that back in there, get the speedometer going. I got a little bit of learning to do with this. If you know where that little clip is supposed to go, throw it down in the comments. I got to figure out the right gear ratio and everything else for the speedometer. So thanks for joining in. If you made it this far, please think about liking and subscribing. Until next week, have a great one.